Hi everyone. A very short video today. Keep it to about 10 or 12 minutes, I think. I haven't done much of the ancient world on here for quite a while. And so I wanted to do a video on something that almost nobody talks about. In fact, I've never seen, even in books, I hardly ever see anyone talk about, and that's ancient Egyptian temple floors. It's very easy when you go to any Egyptian temple complex. It's easy to be staring up like everybody, looking at these pillars, these columns, these reliefs. Nobody's looking at the floor. It was interesting. I went through to get these photos from my last trip to Egypt for you that I'll be using. And as I went through and found all of the floor photos that I have, the friends we went with, because we've shared our photos, and I happen to know which photos were mine, which were theirs, they have none. So they didn't take any photos of the floor, and that would be, I think, pretty normal. The average traveler going there is not looking at the floor for any reason. And the point of it is to let you know that, and not just ancient Egypt, this is the same if you were looking at temples of the Maya or the Toltec in Mexico, Peruvian sites, Greek, even Roman sites. I saw a lot of this in ancient Rome as well. You're looking at an energetic machine, right? An ancient temple is, the best way to describe it, is an energetic machine. The same way we've been talking about the old Gothic cathedrals, the large cathedrals throughout the world. They are machines. They're not religious in any way, shape, or form. That's an added thing that came on top of it, and we don't know when it came on top of it. The same with Egyptian temples. We can't be sure that the temple itself wasn't built as it is without any of the wall text, without anything else. It was just the shell of the building. What we do know, or at least what I know from my time there, is how much energy these places have. And I'm not going to be showing you the floors of the places around Luxor, which even at Abydos and Dendera, you'll find similar things that I'll be talking about in the floor, of how the floors are built and what's in the floor. Most of these photos that I'm going to show you come from very old Egypt, and they're going to be the temple complexes near various pyramid sites. So again, the point of this is to show that every single part of the building process was thought through from the standpoint of energy. How to create the exact energetic charge, energetic frequency, musical note, if you want to say it that way, that the temple was going to present. And that includes not just the statues that are going to be chosen, the reliefs that go on the walls, it means what goes into the floor. That the entire building is going to be, an energetic machine. And there's no question that some of those energetic machines are mostly broken. You get like maybe half the charge. There's a few still in Egypt that you get a fairly complete original charge, even though a lot of things are missing. Be they in the south, the obelisks are gone, the statues are gone, things have been broken, But even at a couple of these I'm going to show you that are semi-ruined, they are still extremely charged. So we'll start here. This is the Valley Temple on the Giza Plateau. And most people are, of course, focused on this area, the large standing pillars that are very similar to the Osirian at Abydos. Or you're looking here at the interlocking stonework in the walls, the very Peruvian style, very difficult to produce interlocking granite blocks. But no one looks down. And here are some pictures of the floor of the Valley Temple, and you can see it's made with various alabaster, it's made with crystals, it's made with stone that is that comes at a high frequency, that vibrates at a very high rate. And what's really interesting is some of the floor is gone, it's missing. Some of the floor is damaged. Some of the floor, like in the photos you're seeing, are still, it's clear, it's still nearly pristine. And it's a complete different experience when I'm standing on pristine Egyptian flooring in that space than if I'm standing on something that is damaged or been altered or missing or not right. That on the exact stone, whether it be alabaster, crystal, whatever, your just you as a being, your body reacts to it by either trying to block it or moving your frequency up. Because to be able to stand it, you've got to shift it. It's not so much that I think the building does the shift itself. It's like you have to kind of allow the shift to happen, and as soon as you allow the shift to happen, the shift to happen, your vibration rate jumps, and that's very clear, especially when you're in one of these spots and you're alone. You get the ability to jump your frequency levels so much more. Here we'll look at, for example, Saqqara, and this is these are spots on the Unas Causeway heading toward the Unas Pyramid, and again, people are looking at the pillars and the area around it, of course, the stone blocks, but here's the floor. Here's some of the things that was the original floor of the Unas Valley Temple. And it's, again, it's unbelievably beautiful stone. And, if you're just making a floor, you can just get some limestone and drop it down, and it's much easier to cut, much easier to place. No, they want this type of stone. This is the kind of stone that they want. And it's not always this kind. It's not always crystal or alabaster. Here we'll see another site at Saqqara. And this is near the Sekhmet Pyramid. And in this temple, we're looking at giant basalt blocks. And we're talking about massive basalt blocks here. You'll find a lot of this too, like on the Giza Plateau, you'll find a lot of basalt and granite flooring just outside the King's Pyramid, the Khufu Pyramid and the Khafre Pyramid as well. I don't remember seeing as much at the Menkaure Pyramid for the flooring there, but you'll see these similar giant granite basaltic blocks. Abu Sir, Abu Ghorab has slightly different. Sometimes they've got that kind of flooring. Other times it's more like the alabaster crystal flooring. So again, I just wanted to point this out because actually I should see if I didn't look it up before I started this, but I will look in my Mexico pictures now after I've turned this off. And if I can find one, there's a specific temple I'm thinking of in the Yucatan. And if I still can find that photo that I have, I'll put that up now so you can see also a floor in the Yucatan that also has it's like I guess that wasn't alabaster. That might have even been like a rose quartz actually on the floor. So I'll post, if you're seeing a picture, I found it and I posted it up. So again, the reason I'm telling you this is, should you ever get the chance to go back to an ancient site again, should we ever be able to be human and see the world again, these are the things you want to take in. Don't just take in what's up here. Take in what's down there as well. It's just as important. The floor is just as important as the walls, as the pillars, as the statues, as the columns, as everything else. It's one of the reasons I get a bit annoyed with, because there's a lot of channels, YouTube channels that have been running for a number of years that are exploring the ancient world. And and some of the work they do I think is great. I don't want to mention the names right now because I don't want to, anger anybody specifically. But on one level, they do really good work on some things that they're able to bring forward. But they don't actually travel to any of the sites they talk about. They do it all from home, sitting in a chair, clicking on the internet, and showing you someone else's photographs as they discuss what they think about this site, which means they haven't been able, one, to feel it. And if you can't, you have to be able to feel a site. I mean, I would have never been able to start digging into Stonehenge and want to dig into Stonehenge to the level I did if I hadn't gone there and felt, the actual dead energy of Stonehenge compared to Avebury, where you're dealing with almost ancient Egyptian style strength. So it's not just being able to feel the energy at the specific spots, but feel how does that energy feel to something else. Like I say, I could now tell the difference of Avebury reminded me of what, and not just Egypt, which site in Egypt specifically did Avebury remind me of. I've never got a chance to go to Serpent Mound, for example, in Ohio. But now, because Avebury has a very similar layout, in part to Serpent Mound in Ohio, then I would be curious if I ever get to Serpent Mound to now be able, not even just to see it and look at it and examine it, but to feel the energy of Serpent Mound compared to there. The second part of what you have to do to be able to see these sites, to know the site on any really deep level, is you have to be there again, because these pictures that I've taken of the floor, you're not going to be able to almost track these down anywhere in the world. The possibility of really seeing, for example, what's in the floor, what's around the corner, what's down this pathway. If you're just working with some internet photographs, you're stuck with what you can find, as opposed to the whole place is open for your exploration, the whole place is open for your knowledge. And I bring that up to you because if you live somewhere in the world right now where you have access to an ancient site, no matter what that ancient site is, maybe you're in the U.S. Southwest and you've got obvious ancient sites in your area. Maybe you live in, maybe you're living in Australia. You've got some old Aboriginal sites you can go to. There's great sites in Africa if you're there. Sites in, from not just Angkor Wat and Angkor Thom in Cambodia, but all sorts of sites all over the world. If you've got one and you can get to it now, particularly as we're heading to the solstice, this solstice is going to be really important. Try to see if you can bring some of that energy from a trip to one of these sites, to try to bring in the energy, bring in the ancient knowledge. And again, remember, we're walking into it in a type of machine. Allow yourself to be a part of that energetic machine for a while and work with these energies and look what kind of stone is used, how was it carved, where was it placed, what's on the ground. Stone circles where I am out in Scandinavia, there's hundreds of them out here. And even so, almost nobody will recognize or even notices that just under the grass level is another layer of smaller, often spectacular stones, beautiful crystal stones of all types. So it's not just the 11 or 13 stones or whatever you've got sitting around you. You've got an entire grouping of stones and layouts and spokes and wheels that are being run on the ground, as much as the stones that are standing up from the ground. It all fits together into one energetic pattern, and the more you can be aware of the whole piece of that energetic structure, I think the better chance you have to tap into it, and the better chance you have for the site to talk to you, where you and the site can have a communication. If you don't have an opportunity to get to a site, but if you've been to one in your life before, then you hopefully have a memory of what it was like to be there, what that energy felt like, how you felt when you were there. I think it's good over the next few weeks to take a couple of moments in the day and remember your trip to that site, remember your energetic experience, and try to bring that into you where you are now. So that's all I wanted to say at this point. I'll be doing one more video Sunday, Monday, something like that. And then I'll be taking a 2-week technology break where I will just disassociate myself from screens and as much technology as possible. I really want to have not just a healing break for the body from the energetic frequencies, but also to have an opportunity to focus on the energies of whatever is or isn't going to be happening in the next week with our interesting solstice. There's also a few interviews I'm doing this week, so they'll be coming up in the course of the week. And in that video, next week I'll list where they are, so in case you want to see a couple of other things I've done. And so after that video, then I'll take my 2 weeks, see what kind of experience that generates, and be back after that. But we've got one more to go. I'll talk about technology and the solstice and energy, I think, again. And then the video I'm going to do after the Christmas solstice period is going to be, I want some time to really contemplate it, because I've had some really interesting comments come up recently about the nature of reality, because I'm touching it in these Plato's Cave videos, I'm touching it in the spiritual warfare videos, and people are sharing some really interesting more, again, really interesting comments and links to this, links to that. And so I think I'd like to do one on the simulation nature of this reality. What would reality as a simulation be? And we'll try to look into movies to help with that, like The 13th Floor and other things where you're dealing, or Dark City, and there's a lot of these movies that are kind of dealing with a simulation in a simulation. There's even some really good, not Twilight Zone, Outer Limits. Outer Limits even had some really interesting ones of simulations within that the world is a simulation. And so I'm going to try to share some of these ideas with you as a way of really trying to dig into another layer of what reality and perception is. So it's also good I'll have some time to try to piece that out, because as you can probably guess, that's going to be a very deep and detailed talk. So thanks to everyone who's still coming by and joining, listening to me talk, sharing information with me, who are picking up a book here and there. I hope you find something interesting in them. The donations that are coming in on PayPal are always appreciated now at Christmas time especially. And yeah, thanks to everyone for being around so far for, I guess it's been 5 months, I guess. 4 or 5 months I've been running this channel, and yeah, we'll have one more for you in 4 or 5 days, and get ready for the solstice after that. See you soon.